We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
And welcome back to Liberty Nation Radio. We're joined once again by Liberty Nation's senior political analyst and long-time host of this here show, Mr. Tim Donner. Now, earlier on, we talked about the dark horse candidacy of Governor Glenn Youngkin, but now I want to switch to the hopes and dreams of former President Trump and his quest to become president once more. And more specifically, what's going to happen in those all-important debates. Now, Tim, Trump's in a bit of a sticky wicket, isn't he? He's indictment after indictment, and at the time of recording, another charge likely coming down from Georgia. That hasn't arrived yet, but we are expecting it. Now, how does he weather this storm politically and continue campaigning?
Well, I think he's going to have to concede the fact, or maybe magnify the fact that he's going to be spending most of his time at the most, or much of his time at the least, responding to these indictments between hearings, arraignments, and actual trials, and petitions filed by his lawyer to try and keep delaying things.
It's sorry to interrupt him. It's a shame for him that none of the trials are in New Hampshire, Iowa, all of the early states.
Yeah, that's true. He would take sure. Or how about Virginia? You know, so we could say Youngkin can't do any better than me in Virginia. But here's the thing, though. He has to weigh, and let's make a point here as evidenced by the Trump TV ads that have been released so far, that he has a very sharp and competent campaign staff this time around. He's much more organized than he was in 2020 because everybody was responding to the pandemic, so he has to decide how to turn his constant stream of legal entanglements between now and Election Day 2024 into somehow a virtue to make himself a victim among victims, for it to project that the other side will do anything to take him down, as no less than someone like Doris Kearns Goodwin, the famed left-wing historian, said this week. Look, I'm paraphrasing her here, but look, it's necessary to do what's necessary, whatever it takes, to make sure Trump does not ascend to the White House again. I mean, that's just saying out loud what everybody already knows they're committed to doing. But
it's like the communist refrain, isn't it, of by any means necessary?
But it's a Stalinist, it's Stalinist justice, where it says, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. Not once or twice, or probably even 3 times, but 4 times. I mean, they want to really make sure that they seal the deal. But, that begs the question of how exactly he can talk about anything except the fact of his indictments, because you can't think that people, whether they're inclined to vote for him or not, are going to want to hear nothing but legal depositions over the next 15 months before the election. So, I mean, to say, Mark, that we're in uncharted territory with a major party nominee under multiple indictments would, I think, be the understatement of the year, if not all of American political history.
Almost certainly. It's interesting you say that about how the voting public probably don't want to hear about the indictments and the legal defense strategies, and I think that's a good reason why Trump doesn't appear to be willing to go into the GOP primary debates at the moment. And of course, when you're in the lead by so much, there's not always a need to. But one thing that will come up is, if he is the eventual nominee, and if Joe Biden is still in the running by then, he'll have to get on a debate stage with Joe Biden. Now, I know that historically several presidents have just not engaged in this, and that might be the case, but it would certainly be a bad look for Joe Biden not to engage in that. And so I think one of the important questions that needs looking at is what happens if they both take to the debate stage Last time, the media called it for Biden, naturally, because that's what the majority of the legacy media does. But he had all of these good things going for him then. Joe Biden had all of these good things going for him then. But those don't exist anymore, do they?
Well, he had good things by virtue simply of being not named Trump. That was it, right? He was the alternative that could be a return to normalcy, so to speak. He could be the moderate Democrat that he's always claimed to be, even though he hasn't been, especially lately. But now you've got a reality, you've got a record, and you've got some of the ammunition, a lot that he used in 2020 to defend himself against the Hunter Biden affair. And, you know, the way his Justice Department has unleashed its fury on Donald Trump. I mean, he's a very different guy now, not to mention that 4 years of cognitive decline. Look, it's 15 months till the election, and that's a lifetime for someone who is in arguably, you know, a state of fairly rapid decline. I mean, I think we can see the difference now, even from when he was first running for office. But look, Trump has a couple of issues here. Yes, he's 40, 50, whatever it is, points ahead. Someone who's that far ahead rarely agrees to a debate. So from a standpoint of political strategy, it would make sense for Trump to just pass on the idea of this Fox debate on August 23rd. But consider the Trump ego and consider the 45th president sitting in his living room watching Ron DeSantis front and center in a Republican debate. Couldn't that pretty much, it could sink DeSantis, but it could really elevate him as the leading choice if it's not Trump, which, of course, if it's not Trump, appears as a live possibility because of all the indictments, right? So I'm not sure that Trump's ego could handle seeing DeSantis as essentially the front runner in a large debate in that center position on the stage. So that's the conundrum that he faces in as far as going against Biden. Look, if Biden doesn't debate, refuses to debate, then there's no question that it's nothing less than an admission that he isn't up to it. And this is from a man whose, let's say, whose mental state is very much in question as the oldest American president in history. So I think Trump has a lot of choices to make, both for the primary and for the general election when it comes to debates.
Wise words indeed. Tim Donner, thank you ever so much.
Always a pleasure, Mark.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Don't get caught up in the media madness. Join our movement for free thinking and free speech at libertynation.com. Publishing news and analysis 24/7 with original articles by our team of authors who tell it like it is. Join us each week for online TV shows, The Uprising Podcast, and Liberty Nation Radio. We believe in free thinking and free speech. We are libertynation.com.